from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there and a very good evening. This is the National News Broadcast, bringing you your stories for tonight. I'm Prashant De Silva.
And I'm Esha Inali. Let's have a look at the headlines first.
The health trade union action will continue tomorrow as well. Patients have faced immense difficulties. A special gazette notification making the health service an essential service. Outright deeds will be given to Mahavalley landowner families as well. A housing loan of 10 million rupees will be given to migrant workers. The Presidential Secretariat announces that the presidential election will be held as scheduled. The general election will be held next year. An assurance has been given to not privatize state media institutions. A shooting in New York claimed a life. 5 others injured.
On to those and others in detail, and your top story for tonight is 72 health trade unions have resorted to a trade union action from 6:30 a.m. today, and the trade unions demand an allowance to be paid them similar to the allowance paid to the medical officers.
Meanwhile, the health minister requests the relevant trade union leaders to stop the strike without causing inconvenience to the people. People complain that treatment services in hospitals have been disrupted owing to the trade union action. They point out that such trade union actions are very unreasonable. 72 trade union members, including auxiliary services, paramedics, nursing and other professions, are engaged in this strike. Although the patients had the opportunity to consult the doctors, they faced immense difficulties since the disciplinaries remain closed today. General Secretary of the All Island Nurses Union, SP Medavatta, said that their trade union is not engaged in this action. He said, however, they extend their support and blessings to the actions taken by the other unions. Co-convener of the Health Professional Trade Union Alliance, Namal Joy Singh, said that they have been estimated the allowances they are entitled, but the Ministry of Finance has rejected their proposals. Convener of the Paramedical Services Joint Union, Ravi Kumadesh, said that even though they do not accept the system of the Sri Lanka salary base, for the time being they accept it. He requested therefore to meet the justice for them at least through the salary base. Minister Dr. Ramesh Patirana said that each and every health professional is precious and gives a great service for the patients. About 1,300 doctors have left the country at present. This allowance is paid to the academics since they have been severely affected due to the existing taxes. Therefore, government should provide a relief for them. The government has increased salaries for all public servants by 10,000 rupees a month. A part of this increase is already paid. In April, the government has to pay 2 salaries from them to the festive season. However, under the existing financial situation, the public servants must be patient. There are 1.5 million public servants. Out of them, 150,000 employees are from the health sector. Some employees have been given relief at present. The government appeals to the entire public servants not to cause inconvenience to the public through such trade union actions. Therefore, all health professionals should help to maintain a proper health service for the sake of the general public.
Speaking of the same, special gazette notification was issued declaring the health service as an essential service. It has been issued under the powers vested with the President. President has taken this decision considering the inconvenience and obstructions caused to the general public due to the disturbance of the health service. The gazette notification signed by the President's Secretary, EMS B.A. Naika, states that all services in the health sector, hospitals, nursing homes, pharmacies and other similar institutions, including maintaining patients, providing treatment and care nurturing, and all other work and labor have been declared as essential services.
The Cabinet has decided to grant outright deeds to families who own blocks of land under the Mahavali scheme as part of the Urumaya program. The relevant Cabinet paper was presented by the Minister Pavitra Vanniyarachi. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandhu Nagaravardhana revealed these facts today at the Cabinet press meeting. Minister Dr. Bandhu Nagaravardhana said that Cabinet has given approval to the Mahavali families who have only a temporary license or permit for the ownership of their land. Mahavali families will also be able to claim legal ownership for their lands through these outright deeds. Cabinet has also granted its approval to a proposal submitted by the Minister of Public Security to prepare a draft bill to amend the Act for the safety of online systems. Minister Dr. Bandhu Nagaravardhana said that when the government appears before the Supreme Court to get this act passed, the Asian Internet Council, some civil organizations and human rights bodies presented various views and proposals. Then the minister agreed to include these amendments and views into the act. However, the bill was passed in Parliament without having opportunity to include the relevant amendments. Therefore, all these amendments have been again presented to the Cabinet for approval. The minister further said that after proper procedure, these amendments will be included in the Act. Minister Dr. Bandhu Nagaravardhana also revealed the facts about the elements that disrupt railway service. Minister Dr. Bandhu Nagaravardhana also said that a large number of investigations are being carried out against some elements over the theft of fuel, rail tracks, iron and many other items. Some elements attempt to sabotage and disrupt these investigations. There is a Public Service Commission to deal with the matters related to government institutions. Such decisions cannot be changed through trade union actions or strikes. The government can't take the ad hoc decisions favouring one department or two. The Public Service Commission take decisions common to all public institutions. Even the Minister or the Cabinet cannot take action against the Public Service Commission.
And in the meantime, a task force has been appointed to prepare a national strategy and a plan regarding artificial intelligence. The Cabinet of Ministers has decided to introduce proposed training courses to the curriculum of education under the recommendations given by the new task force. And support of the Microsoft company will also be obtained for the relevant pilot project. The proposal was submitted jointly by the President and the Minister of Education. Accordingly, as a pilot project, courses on artificial intelligence will be started from grade 8 in schools that has basic human resources to conduct the courses. The schools selected for the pilot project will be digitalized and 100 IT teachers will be trained by the Microsoft company. The Cabinet gave its approval for a Memorandum of Understanding between Transport Ministries of Russia and Sri Lanka to enhance cooperation between the two countries. According to the proposal presented by Minister Dr. Bandhu Nagaravardhana, employees of the transport sector will also be trained with the assistance of Russia. Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau and National Housing Development Authority, with the help of licensed commercial banks, have planned to implement a housing loan program for the benefit of the Sri Lankan migrant workers. Under the loan scheme, a sum of maximum 10 million rupees will be provided to migrant workers to construct house of their own. A part of the interest will be paid by the Foreign Employment Bureau, and the loan installments should be paid through the foreign remittance sent legally by the migrant worker. Upon completion of the foreign employment and returning to the island, the relevant migrant worker will be able to pay the loan installment in Sri Lanka rupees. This proposal has been approved by the Cabinet as well.
Japan and United Nations Development Program in Sri Lanka marked the launch of the new project titled the Project for Promoting Economic Governance through Anti-Corruption Policy Support on an event held at the Japan Ambassador's Residence in Colombo yesterday. Launch of the new project was conducted through an official signing by the Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka, Mizukoshi Hideki, and Resident Representative United Nations Development Program Sri Lanka Azuta Kuboto, with the participation of senior government officials. The project for promoting economic governance through anti-corruption policy support is supported by the government of Japan through the Japanese supplementary budget of approximately 931,000 American dollars will be implemented by the government of Sri Lanka and UNDP in Sri Lanka. The proposed action seeks to strengthen legal and policy frameworks, improve coordination among key institutions combating financial and tax crimes, and enhance strategic, institutional and individual skills and capacities around combating anti-corruption through strategic action under three main outcomes.
Corruption is unfortunately deep-rooted in Sri Lanka for a long time, that it cannot be easily eradicated. That is why the strong and unwavering leadership of Sri Lanka is vital. In addition, the joint cooperation of multiple stakeholders plays a pivotal role. This project exemplifies such collaborative efforts, and high-level participation from Sri Lankan government demonstrates the strong resolve of Sri Lanka to address corruption issue. This project for promoting economic governance through anti-corruption policy support in Sri Lanka aims to promote digitalization and streamlining of the works of relevant entities, including CIABOC, Registrar of Companies and Auditor General, to create an effective mechanism to both prevent and combat corruptions or financial crimes. I think that effective and independent mechanisms are important to avoid corruption. Anti-corruption measures are conducive for a more business-friendly environment for foreign investors. And Japan would like to support improvement in this sense and expect to see expansion of our business relationship. I commend the Sri Lankan government for its steadfast commitment to these reforms in accordance with the IMF financial support, and for recognizing the importance of international cooperation in this endeavor.
When we are thinking very critically about how United Nations, particularly UNDP, could be of support to Sri Lanka at this time of socio-economic recovery, and strengthening the foundation for greater transparency and accountability has been single-handedly mentioned as a driver for sustainable and inclusive recovery, but also in our artificial intelligence-driven analysis of the SDG Accelerator study, SDG 16, having transparent and accountable institution, has been identified through machine learning as the most catalytic driver for Sri Lanka to attain rest of the SDGs. So from all corners, it's been pronounced over and again the importance of having much stronger foundation for transparency and accountability for the economic recovery.
When it comes to economic governance, anti-corruption and economic governance is inextricably linked together. So we have learned so much of lessons in the past that we are almost late to have this type of arrangements. Based on the recent economic restructuring program, we have identified a set of agencies that are critically important in reshaping the economic platform of Sri Lanka. So the CIABOC and this anti-corruption domain is very important and significant in that context, and the government has taken steps towards right direction, giving high priority in setting systems and related legislation to come up with a strong anti-corruption ecosystem.
As per the Anti-Corruption Act number 9 of 2023, already we have initiated our restructuring process as per the new act and the new regulatories, and also going to establish new centralized system to collect the assets and the liabilities from the relevant officials. In addition to that, from this grant, I think UNDP is continuously supporting to the CIABOC. So we hope technical assistance as well as some sort of capacity building for our officials, and also to develop some systems through the digitalized system.
A policy dialogue on the sustainability of agricultural sector in the dry zone of Sri Lanka for climatic changes was held at the BMICH premises under the patronage of Minister Mahinda Ambaravira. State Minister D.B. Herath participated at this function. During the dialogue, it was revealed that the most affected people from the climatic changes are the farmers who engage in the agriculture activities in the dry zone. This event has been organized jointly by the World Vision Lanka and the Hector Kobakadua Agricultural Research and Training Institute. The participants also discussed the research materials conducted regarding the situation. They've also focused attention on how the dry climatic condition affected the farmers and their family members in all districts belonging to the rice zone. They studied the research papers and other study materials to prepare policy framework for future plans. Director of the Hector Kubakadua Agricultural Research and Training Institute, Dr. G.P. Bandula, and Director of the World Vision Lanka, Danan Senadiraja, and several others were present at this dialogue.
Committed to addressing the vulnerabilities caused by climate change, recognizing the heavy impact it has on communities around the world. Our dedication to this cause was prominently demonstrated through our active participation at COP28. In fact, in our delegation to COP28, we also included several children and youth from across the globe who served as powerful ambassadors and advocates for climate action. As the most vulnerable to the effects of a changing environment, their voices, the children's voices, resonate very deeply. World Vision believes that the witness and future of these children must be at the heart of planning and all decision-making processes.
One of the biggest importances of today's event is the engagement that he wishes that we could have. The work that is done by think tanks, research institutes and universities across this country and maybe across the globe, all the research that is produced, disseminated at a national and global level, it's futile in the face of absent national and international policies. Every year, the bulk of the research that is produced at institutions, various institutions, it goes unnoticed except by maybe peers of said field. So it's important to have events such as the event today to create dialogue and, as Dr. Senadiraja mentioned, to engage. Because without dialogue, policy doesn't go forward. Without policies, all the research that goes into projects such as the one that is being disseminated today, it remains unutilized. And unutilized research is a waste of potential.
So the national level institutes and the regional level institutes were also invited to that particular scoping event. By the time the World Vision Lanka is called for interest, these geographical locations were set. In terms of climate vulnerability, they have selected 4 districts, named Nochi and Batiklo, so that the main geographical locations were set, but within that scoping event, we identified the most vulnerable or most critical locations from that place as well, and what are the variables that we are eyeing off during the surveys to extract the critical information regarding these vulnerable communities.
Lawyer has resigned from the director post of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority. It is reported that the relevant resignation letter has been directed to Health Minister Ramesh Patirana. In this letter, Manoj Gamage has included many activities he has committed during his tenure as a director of the National Medicine Regulatory Authority. However, many element-level allegations against the authority regarding the case of fake medicine immunoglobulin. Manoj Gamage points out that the director board, including him, has acted in a proper manner in issuing the relevant certificate for that certificate. Accordingly, the authority has refused to issue the certificate on the 24th of April last year. Further states that some members of the director board are having direct connections with the elements that conspire to disgrace the president and the government by creating chaotic situations in the health sector, which is very sensitive for the general public. Lawyer Manoj Gamage says that he is not ready to work with such a management and informed the Minister of Health that he will resign from the director post of the authority with effect from today.
And in the meantime, the Presidential Secretariat announces that the presidential election will be held at the scheduled period of time and the general election will be held next year. The financial grants for the general elections are scheduled to be allocated by the budget next year. The responsibility of holding elections is a matter of the Election Commission. According to the announcement issued by the Presidential Secretariat, the government will act in cooperation with the Election Commission at the appropriate time.
The Biyagama meeting of the Satjanarala meeting series organized by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held yesterday. The aim of this program is to enlighten the youth activists and political representatives of the Podujana Peramuna. The meeting was held following religious observances held at several temples in Biyagama. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and public representatives of the party were present at this occasion. Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa said that they have no problem with the increase of tax income. However, more income can be earned by strengthening the economy and increasing money transactions. There should be practical programs to provide money to people. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Sagara Karyavasam said that Mahinda Rajapaksa is a leader who created the highway network and expressways in Sri Lanka. A leader who is responsible for torching more than 600 buses has become a hero nowadays. There's a notion creating some elements that the policy of Mahinda Rajapaksa is wrong and inappropriate. We can't let such ideas to be propagated within the society. Religious observances were held this morning to mark the 42nd anniversary of Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation and to invoke blessings to the national television, its staff and the country.
Most certainly, and top officials of the corporation and its staff members were present at this occasion. Preparation of milk foods for offering to Lord Buddha was held early this morning at the corporation premises according to ancient traditions. The offering of milk foods were held at the Sri Lanka Kalyana Dharmashramya at the Baudaloka Mawatha in Colombo. The religious observances were conducted by Chief Incumbent of Kalyana Dharmashramya Venerable Mirihani Nandathera. Mahasangha invoked blessings to the corporation staff and the country. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation, Dr. Prasad Samarasinghe, and many staff members were present at this occasion. And meanwhile, the Hindu religious observances were held at the Pudiya Kadireshan Kovil in Bambalapitiya under the patronage of Brahma Sri Nagaraja Kurukal. Catholic observances were held by Director of the Catholic Media Center, Reverend Father Jude Krishanta Fernando. Christian observances were conducted by General Secretary of the Sri Lanka National Christian Council, Pastor Sujitha Sivanagam, at the St. Teresa Church in Timbiri-Gasyaya. Islam religious observances were held at the Devatagaha Grand Mosque in Colombo 7 under the patronage of Al-Hajj Riyas Sali. Mulawi Muhammad Iqbal conducted the prayers.
State Minister Shehan Semasinghe says that any person has the opportunity to direct applications to apply for the second stage of Aswasuma. The applications are called on the 15th of this month. A discussion was held today at the Ministry of Finance with regard to obtain the service of Provincial Council representatives for this program. State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said that getting an active contribution from the Provincial Council representatives will lead to conduct the second stage of the Aswasum beneficiary program more fruitful manner. This will also help to rectify the weakness occurred in the first stage. About 2.4 million beneficiaries are scheduled to be selected for the second stage. The beneficiary payments for the second stage will be made from July this year. A sum of 205 billion rupees has been allocated for this purpose. Consideration of objections and appeals have been completed up to 90% this far. The State Minister further said that 9,122 beneficiaries qualified for the first stage have become disqualified in the second stage.
On to more local stories. President's Director General for Community Activities, Rajat Kirti Tenakon, says that had President Ranil Wickremesinghe had the opportunity as then Education Minister to complete his educational reforms, the country would have had a unique education system at present. He pointed out that he had also engaged in protest campaigns against the then Education White Paper. However, now he is well aware of the importance of the educational reforms presented by Ranil Wickremesinghe as then Education Minister. He made these remarks at a ceremony held in Budruagala Mahavidyalaya in Monragala as the President has pledged to the students a stock of music instruments was donated to the school within a very short period. The students of Budruagala Mahavidyalaya made this request to the President on the 3rd of November last year when the helicopter he was flying in was emergency landed at the school premises due to inclement weather. The students informed the President on that occasion regarding their grievances.
A meeting between the UNP leader President Ranil Wickremesinghe and representatives of the party's trade unions was held recently at the Sirikota party headquarters. Developity UNP organizer Dr. Kitsiri Manchanayaka, Professor Sunil Shanta, Rahul Dandaniya and Dr. Chaminda Malalasekara and some academics were present at this meeting. Meanwhile, another meeting between the convener of the Bankers Association, Asela Fernando, and members of the UNP Youth Force was also held at the party headquarters. General Secretary of the UNP Palita Rangibandara, Chairman Vajrabe Vardhana and Deputy Leader Akila Viraj Karyavasam and many others were also present at this meeting.
Moving on, State Minister for Mass Media Shantha Bandara has announced that the Electronic Media Broadcasting Authority Act is anticipated to be introduced to Parliament and enacted soon. Additionally, he noted that a national media policy has been drafted and is currently under consideration by the Cabinet for approval. State Minister Shantha Bandara made these remarks during his participation in a news conference at the Presidential Media Centre today under the theme Collective Way to a Stable Country. State Minister Shantha Bandara said that in tackling today's prominent challenge of financial management, we directed our attention towards addressing revenue and expenditure issues. Specifically, we concentrated on the 16 institutions falling under the ministry, a significant portion of which relied on treasury allocations. As a result, initiatives were undertaken to enhance the self-sufficiency of these entities, enabling them to operate independently.
Chairman Sri Lanka Data Protection Authority Arjuna Herath has announced the imminent finalization of rules and regulations crucial for overseeing the protection of citizen rights within both the public and private sector entities involved in personal data processing. This initiative, emphasized in the preamble of Personal Data Protection Act, aims to not only ensure compliance but also foster an environment conducive to digital economic growth and innovation. Following the issuance of an extraordinary Gazette notification for the Personal Data Protection Act No. 9 of 2022 by the President and in accordance with constitutional provisions vested in the Minister of Technology, Part 5 of the Act will be enforced starting July 2023. This will empower the President to appoint the Chairman and Board of Directors for the authority. In October 2023, subsequent to the appointment of the Chairman and Board of Directors, the authority commenced operations as the governing body responsible for regulating citizen rights protection in personal data processing across sectors. By virtue of the latest Gazette notification, the Personal Data Protection Act is slated for full enforcement effective March 18, 2025. Additionally, provisions concerning the use of personal data for the dissemination of unsolicited messages will be activated within a timeline spanning 24 to 48 months from the date of the Act certification. Section 6 8, 9 and 10 of the Act, scheduled for implementation from December 1st, 2023, entail the establishment of the authority's fund and formulation of recruitment regulations for key personnel, facilitating the transition to full operational status. Moreover, the Gazette notification empowers the authority to conduct awareness activities and execute recruitment procedures for key personnel through transparent and competitive means, further bolstering institutional infrastructure and capacity development. Looking ahead, the Data Protection Authority aims to engage stakeholders in crafting policy frameworks and regulations, with plans to unveil these initiatives in the latter half of 2024 and early 2025.
Moving on to a few more local news items in brief. The Sir D.B. Jaya Tilaka monument constructed close to the Paliagoda Expressway was declared open today under the patronage of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. This has been set up to mark his 156th birth anniversary. A fashion show titled Hello Vastra will be held at the Colombo 7 Arcade premises tomorrow. This has been organized by the CIB private company. In a media briefing held in Colombo, Chairman of the Vijay Holdings KRG Vijay Sundara says that many fashions of garments will be displayed in this fashion show.
We'll be back with foreign news right after this break.
Welcome back after the break. Moving on to news overseas. One person has been killed and 5 others injured in a shooting at a subway station in New York. The gunfire has broken out after an argument between two groups of teenagers at a train platform in the Bronx on Monday as office workers and students were beginning their evening commute. Police said a 34-year-old man was killed, with the wounded including a 14-year-old girl, a 15-year-old boy and a 71-year-old. Police said they were searching for at least one shooter, although they had not ruled out the possibility that more than one person was involved. Gun violence is common in the U.S. compared with other developed countries, although New York City is safer than other major urban centers and shootings on the city's subway system are rare.
Happy Valentine's Day! Prima Kotomi! Stay safe and share the hot and spicy love.
The third and final ODI between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan will be played tomorrow. The match is scheduled to commence at 2:30 p.m. at the Pallikala International Cricket Stadium.
Sri Lanka won the first match of the series by 42 runs and the second match by 155 runs. Accordingly, Sri Lanka claimed the 3-match series while another match is to be played. Sri Lankan players took part in the last training session prior to the match this morning. 14 ODIs have been played between the two teams so far. Sri Lanka has claimed a victory of 9 matches and Afghanistan won 4 matches. One match was ended without a decision. Sri Lanka team has played 5 ODIs so far this year and won 4 of them. The other match was abandoned due to rain. The 3-match T20 series between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan will commence on the 17th of this month at the Rangiri International Stadium. The 16-member Sri Lanka cricket squad that play for the T20 series was announced yesterday. Wanindu Hasaranga led the team while Charit Asalanka act as the vice-captain. Pathum Nissanka, Kusal Mendes, Dhananjay De Silva, Kusal Janit Pereira, Angelo Matthews, Dasun Shanaka and Mathish Tikshana are in the squad. Vinara Fernando, Mathisha Pathirana, Dilshan Madhushankar, Nuwan Tushara, Akila Dhananjay, Kamidu Mendes and Sadira Samara Vikram are also included in the squad. Pacer Dushmantha Chamira was selected to the squad, but he was removed due to an injury occurred.
Prima Kotomi! Kottumi share the hot and spicy love every day. Prima Kottumi, fun tamai.
And that concludes your news bulletin for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow as well with the very latest, together with Heisha and Prashant. Good night.